Hello students, welcome to Learner's Planet. Well, today we are going to start with a new chapter, that is our environment. Now in this session, we are going to introduce the basics of this particular chapter. Right? Here we are going to discuss about that what do we mean by the environment, that is our surrounding conditions. Right? Those conditions which are supporting the life, which are supporting the living organisms to survive in these particular conditions. Beside this, of course, there are various activities which are affecting our environment, right? So what we will discuss further, the issues, the problems which are related with the environment, then how we can solve them out, and of course what will be the impact of these particular problems. So now let us find out the details or the basics of this particular chapter. So students, Earth is the only planet where life is possible, right? And why is this so? It is because it provides us with the favorable conditions. Which favorable conditions? Which are of course required for the survival of the living organisms. Right. Now, what are these favorable conditions which are required for the survival? They are basically the temperature, right? Or the availability of water, the respiratory gases, isn't it? The basic requirements which are actually required, they all are present on the earth. And the presence of such type of these molecules, or we can say these conditions, are actually supporting here. Supporting what? Supporting the basic mechanisms which are going on inside a particular living thing. Right. For example, we need water. Right. Water is the basic requirement for our survival. Now, are we able to drink any type of water? Can we use any kind of water for our survival? No. It should be available in the liquid form in our surrounding, or we can say that water can exist in three different states, right? Solid, liquid, or gas. So in the gas, like in the water vapors, they are not going to support our own survival, isn't it? Solid, that is ice, of course, again it is not supporting here directly, right? But what we need here is the liquid water, and this liquid water is available only on the earth. So similarly, we can say the another thing which is required is, let us say for example, oxygen. We all breathe in the air which is containing the particular appropriate concentration of the oxygen. If this oxygen is not present in this molecular form, then what will happen? We are not able to we are not able to respire, isn't it? The respiration is going to be stopped, or it is going to be hindered, isn't it? And if this respiration is not taking place, then definitely oxidation of food is not going to occur, isn't it? So in short, what we are saying is the basic requirements which are related to the chemical conditions, the physical conditions, they all are available in favorable form on the earth. And of course, when these favorable conditions are present, the organisms can be produced over there. A population of an organism can be maintained in that particular zone. So such type of zone where life is possible, that zone is known as the biosphere. Bio, of course, it is related to living. So this is basically it is supporting the living world on this particular planet. Now the point is that if this biosphere is present on the earth, or we can say earth is providing us the biosphere, a zone where the living organisms can be produced, they can grow over there, or the life can be maintained, isn't it? So basically how these particular basic requirements are provided to us by the earth. So in short, we can say here that the things actually which are required or which are provided by the earth or the nature to us, they are actually known as the natural resources, right? So these natural resources, they are present as air, as the water, and the land on the earth. As we said already that the earth is providing us the favorable conditions. Now where these favorable conditions are located? Of course, they are distributed in the different areas on the earth, right? So what these different zone or these different areas are, they are broadly divided into three major types, and that is of course air, water and land. Air is actually it is a mixture of gases, isn't it? And these gases which are present here as a mixture, they are having a particular proportion, right? They are present in a particular ratio which is actually supporting the life. As for example, let us say air is air. If it is a mixture of gas, then which type of gases are present? Oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, etc. Right. Now, if we consider, let us say, carbon dioxide, right, the concentration of this carbon dioxide on earth is 0.03%, approximately, of course. Now this much concentration has to be maintained in this particular area or in the air, right? Now if we compare this carbon dioxide level with some other planet, let us say for example Venus or the Mars, over there the concentration of carbon dioxide is very high, right? So this high, it can be up to 90 or 95% in the atmosphere, in the air of these two particular in these particular planets, right? Now if this much concentration of carbon dioxide is present, then you can imagine that what will be the temperature over there, because of course it is affecting the temperature also, isn't it? Now this much carbon dioxide not only affecting the temperature, but also it is affecting the various other mechanisms in the living organisms, right? Like carbon dioxide is of course required for the photosynthesis, but this much concentration, it is going to be very toxic over there. And these are the basic reasons that why their life is not possible over there on any other planet. Here it is possible on the earth because there is an appropriate concentration of each type of gas. Beside this, the requirement is like water. As we already said that for survival, for any living organism, the water is required in the liquid form. And where this liquid water is available? On our earth. Similarly, the land. Land is actually providing the basic minerals which are required for the survival, isn't it? There are many living organisms which all they are having the different types of needs for their survival in terms of its nutrients. From where these nutrients are coming? It is provided by the land in the form of soil. So this soil is providing, it is supporting the growth of the plants, it is supporting the growth of the microorganisms, and directly or indirectly they are supporting the life of each and every living organism. So now this is how we can say that of course the living system or the life is possible on our environment, and we are very fortunate to have these particular these natural resources in various concentration on earth. Now you know, we are the advanced organisms, the human beings, the most advanced organisms, the most intelligent organism. But you know, sometimes this intelligence it doesn't remain a boon for a particular organism or for the society. Sometimes it is even having very hazardous effect, and that is what which is observed nowadays in our surrounding. As we are saying, we are advanced, we can develop so many technologies, we can follow the modern life, and all these modernity, isn't it? They are actually making us to make use of I'm sorry, they're making us to make more and more use of these natural resources. And of course, due to such type of activities, these natural resources are getting depleted as well as they are getting disturbed. The balance which has to be maintained here in this biosphere is actually getting disturbed. So let us see what is there, how the things are getting disturbed, and what we can do to prevent it, isn't it? See, the modern life is actually becoming very easy day by day due to the development of various advanced technologies, and of course all these things are actually affecting our own natural resources. right? And it is not something new what we are doing, right? Once the technology is developed, then it is becoming a routine life for us, isn't it? It is becoming a part of life for us. And of course that is it is mostly obtained, or it is actually adopted by human beings. So it is our routine activities which are directly affecting the natural resources, and of course as they are affecting it, so it is basically on negative side. See, there are so many industries which are settled down, there are so many equipments which have been invented nowadays. There is a, you can see on the roads itself, the number of vehicles which are increasing day by day, isn't it? How much pollution are they going to create? They are creating a lot of disturbance in this natural ecosystem, or you can say in the natural environment. So if this balance between this particular in the between the components of the biosphere is getting disturbed, definitely the life on earth is going to be affected. And a day will come when the I mean there will be a blast and there will be no organism on earth again. So it is the right time, so as to understand these basic requirements, it is this time when we should become concerned about this balance which is to be which has to be maintained between this biotic world and the abiotic world. Now what is this biotic and abiotic world? We are going to study about each and everything in detail now in the session. So where these natural resources are present? They are present in the biosphere, isn't it? On the earth, of course. Now this biosphere, since it is supporting the life, isn't it? So of course this particular zone where the life is basically possible, which is supporting the life, is known as the environment. Right? So now let us find out what we exactly mean by the environment, and what are the different components of the environment. So this environment which is in our surrounding, these conditions in our surrounding, they are known as the environment, isn't it? And what are the basic things which are actually constituting the environment? They are these particular non-living things like air, water, land, as we said already, and they are supporting the life. That means they are having the living organisms too, and all these particular things they are interacting with each other, isn't it? So this environment is actually defined as the sum total of all of the physical and biological factors in our surroundings in which the living organisms are surviving, or they are living, right? So all physical and biological, and of course chemical too, all these particular conditions which are supporting the life, they are together known as the environment. Now as we are saying, they are having physical, chemical, biological factors. That means it is comprised of living things as well as the non-living things, isn't it? So these basic non-living physical or the chemical factors in our surrounding, they are known as the abiotic components. Now what these abiotic or non-living components could be which are present in our surrounding? Of course it includes the air, water and the land. And these are the major natural resources as we have just studied a few minutes ago, isn't it? So this air, it is what it is? It is a mixture of gases which is present in our surrounding. So the zone in which this particular air is present, that entire area or that entire zone is known as the atmosphere. Now this atmosphere, of course, it is we can say above the land, and it is running up to miles above the earth, isn't it? And of course at different levels there is a variation in the composition or the concentration of various gases in the air also. But the one or the conditions or the concentrations which are supporting the life, they are present only in the lower zone of this particular atmosphere. And of course even here we can say since the land or this earth is not having the uniformity in its surface level, That means sometimes there is a high altitude, sometimes there is a depressions on the this level, earth level. So since there is no uniformity, therefore the composition of the air or the concentration of gases in the air varies from a particular area to the another area. For example, whether it is something like, to say for example, the atmosphere in some hilly regions will be different as compared to the one like land area or the plateau region, isn't it? So this is how there is a variation in the gases, but of course there is these variations are such that they are supporting the type of organisms in these different types of areas. We can say the diversity, the types of living organisms may vary. We can observe that different organisms are having different characteristics, isn't it? And they need some, their need may also vary from one organism to the other, isn't it? But whatever it is requiring a particular oxygen or particular level of these gases, which is of course provided by the atmosphere in different areas near to the earth, right? Beside this, the another requirement is the water, which is present in the environment. This water is what? It is it is made up of a molecule that is H2O, right? Hydrogen oxide or dihydrogen oxide, isn't it? Now this dihydrogen oxide, it can exist, it is present in different states on the earth itself, isn't it? And the one which is required for the survival is of course the liquid form. Now the point is that where this particular water is present in these forms, that zone is known as the hydrosphere. Now again, this water, of course, as we are saying, it is present in different states, then definitely the location also varies, and we can say that around 75% of earth is actually having the water. Earth is surrounded by water, and it is almost 75%. It can range between 70 to 75%, and it is but the water which is actually used up by the animals or the living organisms to support their life is very limited. The reason is because first of all we need the liquid form of water, right? And of course it is available in different forms, so it is only liquid which can be used up by the living organisms directly, right? Beside this, it can be present as a fresh water or as a saline water. So there must be a specific concentration of these ions or the salts in the water which can support the life. The terrestrial organisms, they cannot tolerate the high concentration of salt in water, isn't it? And if we observe, then most of this water which is available in this hydrosphere is saline. It is present, or it is found in the oceans or the seas and all, isn't it? So the one which is used up by us is very limited, isn't it? So whatever limited water is available, even that is sufficient for the survival of the living organisms, right? Besides this, the another part is the land or the soil. The land is providing us with the rocks, and the soil, rocks are helping in forming the soil. So this particular zone where the soil or this land is present, that is known as the lithosphere, right? So this lithosphere is basically providing us with the basic nutritional things, right? And this is how they are supporting the survival of the living organisms, right? So these are the certain abiotic components which are required for the survival of the living organisms. Beside this, as we are saying, they are supporting the life, isn't it? So all these three components, they are together known as the biosphere. Now in this biosphere, if these conditions are supporting the life, then definitely the living organisms must also be present in this particular zone, isn't it? So these living components which are present in the surroundings, right, which are affecting our life directly or indirectly, are known as the biotic components. So in short, we can say that all of the living world which is present in the surroundings, that is actually constituting the biotic component. Now, what living things you can observe in your surrounding? Of course, they are like plants or animals and so on. The microorganisms are also forming the living world in our surrounding. So, although these microbes could not be observed directly by the naked eyes, but we all know that they are present. We can study it with the help of various examples also, isn't it? So these components are present, and it is not so that they are living independently in that particular area, and they are not using up these particular abiotic components which are present in the surrounding. Beside this, even it is it is not also the truth that these, once they are using these natural resources, they are actually not returned back to the environment. These abiotic and the biotic components, right, they are interacting with each other. They are communicating with each other. They are using up and returning it back to the surroundings, and of course in this way they are able to maintain a balance in the environment. For example, if the animals are using the oxygen, right, then they are oxidizing the food and releasing out the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is used up by the plants, isn't it? And then they are releasing out the oxygen. So this is how the things which are on one side, when they are used up by the biotic components, then on one side when they are using up these abiotic components, then of course they are returning some other form to back to the environment, which is again recycled so as to maintain the balance in the environment. And of course this balance is very, very important. If it is disturbed, it is going to lead to a very, very serious problems, right? Now, as we already mentioned earlier, that the conditions vary on Earth from one place to the another, from one zone to the another zone, isn't it? So within the biosphere we can see so many variations in the in terms of its abiotic components, and when these abiotic components are changing, definitely the living component or biotic components will also vary. So due to such type of changes, we can observe the diversity in the diversity of living organisms from one place to the another, right? Within the particular zone where these standard conditions are present, varied form of living organisms are found. And if we observe some other zone on Earth, then you can observe the variation among these two places also. So on the entire Earth we can observe that there are different types of places where different types of organisms or components are found, right? So such an area is actually known as the ecosystem. So we can say in short that environment is actually further divided into several zones which are known as the ecosystem. So this ecosystem, let us define, is, it can be defined as the structural and functional unit of the environment where the living and non-living components are interacting with each other so as to maintain a balance in the environment. So of course it is something very much similar to environment. The components are of course living and non-living, that is biotic and the abiotic only. But the type of these components what are found here in this particular zone and they are interacting with each other, that is known as the ecosystem. So this is going to be more simple to understand if we observe various types of ecosystem. Let us see this flow chart and then it will be more. So what is the ecosystem? It is a zone within the environment where the different type of organisms are interacting with the abiotic component. Right. So what these examples could be? For example, types of we can understand them with the help of the types of ecosystem. Like, see, the natural ecosystem and the artificial ecosystem. What this natural ecosystem would be? Like, let us say for example, it is a forest. It can be a garden. It can be a pond. See, garden is something which we are making artificially. I'm sorry, it is not a natural, it is an artificial ecosystem. Forest, pond, river, lake, ocean, seas, all these are coming under the natural ecosystem. Now how you can see the differences between the forest ecosystem and the pond ecosystem? You yourself can imagine, suppose there is a forest, over there is a terrestrial region and there is the aquatic region. So this terrestrial is actually showing us the this land part, or the zone where the these trees and all these are present, right? And over there, what do you think, what type of living organisms are present? Let us say, for example, there are the lions, there are the tigers, deer, there are different types of birds, right? There are many microorganisms, there are different types of plants over there, different types of trees are there. So all is forming a community or a particular ecosystem over there, right? Now this is actually maintained naturally. Similarly, the pond, isn't it? The types of organisms which can be present in the pond, what they could be, you can imagine yourself, right? They are like fishes, like frogs is also a part of it, then various aquatic plants, then so many examples are there, isn't it? So this is an example of the natural ecosystem. Now how artificial ecosystem could be imagined or it can be studied? Like aquarium. In this case, you are maintaining this aquatic world inside the glass chamber, isn't it? Where the fishes are maintained, isn't it? Similarly, a sanctuary, wildlife sanctuary, or the bird sanctuary, it is a sort of forest which is artificially maintained so as to support the life of different organisms. If it is a bird sanctuary, then of course different breeds of these birds are actually maintained in the sanctuary, isn't it? There are many examples of such thing. Now there are the different types of ecosystem which can be permanent or it can be a temporary. What do you think by this permanent and temporary? Permanent is the one which is once established, it will be present over there forever. Of course, if the balance is maintained properly throughout, between what? Between the biotic and the abiotic components. Now temporary, it means it was established for a while, for certain time period. For example, let us say like a bread, slice of bread where different molds of bacteria they are growing over there, right? So that area, that particular thing is not established forever, isn't it? But of course it is supporting the life of certain organisms for a certain period of time, and which is definitely is removed further. So it can be said as a temporary ecosystem. And what about the permanent? Like the society where you are living, the area where you are living, that is of course a permanent ecosystem further, isn't it? The organisms which are living in the on the land, they are interacting with each other. There are dogs, there are buffaloes, there are cows, there are plants, different types of trees, grass, or different human beings too. So this is establishing a permanent ecosystem. Then the on the basis of that where it is located, in water or in land, on that basis on that basis it is known as terrestrial and the aquatic ecosystem. So terrestrial is the one which is related to the land, aquatic is the one which is related to the water. Example again, aquatic, the one where the pond or the let us say for example the sea or the ocean, rivers, and so on. So what type of ecosystem would be there in the in this your river? There is the water, which is the abiotic component. There must be certain salts and other things which are dissolved over there, isn't it? Certain organic compounds might be there in the water. Then there are the aquatic plants. So these non-living things, that is water or the minerals or these organic compounds, all these are forming the abiotic component, isn't it? Whereas these fishes or the plants or certain microorganisms, all they are forming the living or the biotic component of this particular ecosystem. So from this discussion we can say that there are different types of ecosystem. Environment is divided into small zones which where the type of organisms are very much different from each other. The physical and the chemical conditions are very different from each other, but of course they all are they are favoring the life of the type of organism surviving over there or living over there. So this is how we can say that there are the different types of ecosystem in our surrounding or in our environment. Now further, whatever is a type of ecosystem, we can say that they are completed, they are fulfilled only when there is a proper interaction between the biotic and the abiotic components. So further we have to study about the biotic and the abiotic components of this of the different ecosystem. So that we are going to study in the next session. We'll continue over there. So thank you so much. Have a nice day. We'll catch you soon in the next session. Goodbye.